everybody, I'm Delicia. Thanks for stopping by my channel. Today I'm going to be making a very simple but very tasty classic, the Old Fashioned, and I'm going to be pairing it with a very special cigar here at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Now, to start out, I'll say that the Old Fashioned is probably one of, if not the oldest cocktails floating around out there, originating in the early 1800s, I believe. So again, because it's an old cocktail, there are many, many different variations on how to make it that I've seen. I'm going with a very simple, pretty much using everything that you would have on hand already for the sake of, again, simplicity. And if you have a last minute visitor pop over, I get those a lot, so I try to do videos kind of around that. I get a lot of like, hey, swinging by, love to have a cocktail cigar kind of a thing. So I try to keep certain staples on hand, like for example the Angostura bitters. I do have those are kind of like a little staple, but pretty much everything else are items that you would have on hand, and that's why I'm doing it with this particular recipe. I have seen some really cool old fashions out there. One of the easiest variants that you can do is to change up your whiskey that you're using. Of course, for this time, I'm going to be using a rye whiskey. This is actually the John Drew Rye. It's a Canadian rye whiskey, toasted oak barrel aged, 45% alcohol volume, 90 proof. So a good amount of punch in there. This one is a little bit sweeter than a traditional rye I found, but it goes. It's not as sweet as some of the bourbons out there, but again, that's the easiest type of variant that you can do if you are making an old fashioned and you want to change up the recipe. Just change out the whiskey and kind of switch it up, and you'll notice obviously some different changes with those flavors. So again, just to make it simple, I'm starting out. I'm actually using this very cool little glass here, and I'll have some information on where you can actually order one and get it personalized, because I was very surprised to receive this beautiful glass. It's perfect for those of us who enjoy our cocktails with a cigar, because it has this little cutout for a cigar. Now this one is personalized with my name, Delicia, so you can't steal it from me, but you can order your own, and I'll get into that momentarily. Now, for starters, I have my little sugar cube right in here. Again, different variants use simple syrup. I'm just going with old-fashioned sugar cube. And you're basically just gonna add, I like bitters, so maybe I'd say about 3 to 4 splashes. And you want to ideally try to get it right on your sugar cube so it makes it easy to muddle that. So, yeah, see, that's a lot. And this stuff goes everywhere, I swear. Look at that. Craziness. Very nice. And then you're going to muddle. So I'm not as cool as Don Draper when he was making his old fashioned. In fact, I do like his version, but I don't put any club soda in mine. Again, just to kind of keep it all not quite neat, but pretty close to being pure whiskey. But again, I know there are some of you who do the club soda splash, or some of you actually put a few ounces in there to make your glass appear a little bit fuller. So that's one way. Also, it waters it down. I'm not a fan of watering it down, so that's why I'm doing it that way. And really, you're just, once you muddle it, you just want to kind of make sure it's lining as much of the glass as you can. And then you're basically just gonna mix in your whiskey, and it's, again, super simple. So in this glass, I just have some ice. So I'm just doing my whiskey into the ice just to kind of cut it down and also to cool it off a little bit. Although traditionally, I've heard that this drink, because back then they didn't have ice, this was actually served at room temperature. Now that, of course, we do have ice, we take advantage of those things. So I'm just putting 2 ounces. And again, you don't have to measure. If you want to just eyeball, you can. Go with your taste on that. And mix it. Ooh, a little splash action. There we go. Sometimes that ice settles in there really good. So just mixing it around again just to kind of cut it a little bit because it is straight whiskey, and then of course to cool it off. But for this one now, I'm actually going to add my little whiskey ball right into my glass because it helps to not water it too fast as we're drinking it. And I'm just going to add my nice little whiskey. And then give it another little mix because of course that sugar and bitters are still at the bottom. The square glass is not as fun to mix with. But hey, it still looks cool, and then we're going for the convenience and the comfort of we can put our cigar, you know, right in our glass, which is super cool. That was my only criticism I had with Don Draper is he always smoked cigarettes. He didn't smoke cigars, and he was always drinking old fashioned, so he should have had a stogie. I think one time he had a stogie, but yeah, he definitely should have had, that would have made Mad Men that much cooler, in my opinion. And then, of course, you want to garnish it with a little bit of orange rind here. And don't forget to wash your orange. It does go in the drink, so I already washed mine. I'm just kind of getting it nice and juicy. I'm just going to cut a little piece off the orange rind there. And then the really cool people do the match thing and light it on fire. I am known to be clumsy. I am not going to even attempt it, but I will squeeze out some of that juice, you know, into. And if you want to get crazy and light the match, by all means, give it a shot. I'd love to see that. And then you just really put the orange peel in there and voila, cheers. Yum. A little bit of sweetness just adds, it adds obviously sugar. You can't help but taste the sugar in there. But you're really getting with the rye, you get that nice balance of spicy, which is why this makes an excellent pairing with my little friend here. This is the Cinco. This is the 1965 Aniversario Liga number 4. It was my number 2 cigar of the year. Excellent flavors on this one. And I don't know, I was thinking about having one of these cocktails and I thought, man, what cigar would go well with it? And immediately thought of this one because of the different notes that this cigar has. It's really going to pair up nicely with this old fashioned. The notes of the cigar, you're getting the nice oak woodsiness, but you also get a hint of a citrus, which is why, again, this came right to mind because naturally when you're using the rye whiskey, you get a little bit more of a spicy element. I do anyways. You definitely pick up the citrus in there. You pick out a little sweetness with a little bit of vanilla. You pick up, a little hint, not so much of the caramel, but you do pick up, there's just a bite in there with that rye. I like it. Normally I'm a bourbon person all day long. I like bourbon with most things. But for some reason, this one, I just like that little extra bite that you get from using a rye whiskey. And again, it just pairs very nicely with this cigar. So I'm gonna light this little baby up, and I'd invite all of you to try this fun little pairing, and I'd love to hear your feedback if you guys have had it before or you're thinking of having it. This particular cigar is featuring a nice, beautiful Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Nicaraguan vintage grown Habano seed binder and filler. So again, you're picking up the nice woodsiness. This one has more of a cedar, nutty, nice orange citrus in the background, black pepper, and then it just matches so nicely with the beautiful notes in this particular old fashioned. And then using that rye whiskey, you just pick up that little bit of bite, that spiciness. It's very nice. Charred, toasty, nice aromatic smoke, cedar, slight citrus hint on there. And then let's take it with our old fashioned. That's a beautiful drink. I actually haven't had one of these in a while. I was craving one. So again, it just goes very nicely. There's no competition on the body. They're very similar again with the whiskey, and then this is about a medium to full, like in between medium to full on the body of the cigar. So not a competition on the body, a nice marriage of flavors, again, bringing out the oakiness in the whiskey, of course, and then that little bite of spiciness from the rye is just beautiful with the cigar. It just really goes well to make it more of the, not so much sweet, but more of that spicy, citrusy. It's just, I don't know, just very, very nice. Excellent pairing. The only problem with these is that you kind of have to keep making them frequently if you're a fast drinker, because it's not that much in there, and you know, this ice cube is making it look even fuller, which is why I think people add the club soda or the tonic water or whatever to kind of fill up the glass a little bit more, especially if you order these at a bar. Unless you specify how you would like your old fashioned, they're probably going to put, you know, a splash of soda on top of it, which I'm not a fan of that. I like it as straight as possible. Again, just that little bit of sugar and bitters and that orange rind, it adds something, it adds enough in my opinion. And then drinking it on the rocks, of course, helps to kind of dilute it slightly. But when you use the larger whiskey ball, then of course that dilution doesn't happen as fast as if you have, you know, lots of little ice cubes floating around in there. Not really a fan of that. I drink most of my cocktails neat because I just like the taste of the actual alcohol itself, and I like to taste things in their purest form whenever possible. I drink my coffee black, I drink my rum neat, I pretty much drink bourbon most of the time just neat. I like the taste of it, so. So this is just excellent. I highly encourage you all to try out this pairing. Make your own variation of your old fashioned. Copy mine if you want. It's super simple. It's definitely not anything that's highly creative. It's just kind of like the simplest form of making this. I personally don't put the cherry in there. I know some people do. I just happen to be a fan of just that citrus note in there. But again, feel free to add your cherry in there. I'd love to hear the different recipes. I know the last video I did on the Manhattan, there was quite a few comments on whether, you know, you guys do it similar or you have your own variation. And I'd love to see that, because I might try it again a different way when I have more things on hand and a little bit more time. But I just wanted to put this together and give you that nice little recommended pairing, something super easy, a great cigar to go with it. Also, if you did like the cup, this is a great idea because you can just put your little cigar just like that. And I have done another video with a similar glass. This one, however, is personalized by my very good friends over at Dapper Company. If you do get on their website and you want to personalize your own glass, if you enter the word Cigar Vixen, you will get a discount, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. And if you do, be sure you tag me, post your pictures. I want to see all your fun, all your different names. You can put whatever name you want. But yeah, just a kind of a fun little cup. Makes a great gift, makes a great gift to yourself, but a great little addition to your collection by your bar. And again, just a fun little way to hold your cigar. I mean, how cool is that? I love it. Because I always run out of hands, especially when you're out and about. So you could actually, I mean, you could. Oh, that's cool. You can actually do that. Just kidding. Okay, so you can't drink it necessarily with the cigar in there, or it might burn your eyebrow, but you can definitely puff on it, and if anything, just hold it when you're doing something else with your other hand, because I always am shaking hands or saying hi to people or talking, and I like to use my hands when I talk, so this is great. So again, check them out, dappershopcompany.com, and order yours today. Cheers.